Hello everybody and welcome to part 13 of the Arduboy dev stream. So today in that stream I will show you what I've done offline actually. So during the last stream I left you saying that I will try to improve the jump of the main character. So actually that's what I did, and since working on the control of the character is often something that is a lot about feelings. Actually, you try and change the tune a little bit, try again. So it's a lot of a test actually and small adjustment. I felt that it may be a bit too boring to see that on stream, so I mainly did it offline. But I will show you all the change I've done. I have mainly done 3 commit, so 3 big changes, 3 steps, and I will show you all the steps so that you can see the progress actually and what I've done. All right, so first, where is my, yeah. So first, the first thing I did is to add the full state, sorry. Yeah, so I told you we had the jump, and we also had to implement the fall. So basically the fall is when Rink is just walking and there is suddenly no ground under it and he just fall, right? But I realized that actually actually I could enter into the fall step just at the top of the jump. So basically when the main character jump, and when he reached the top, then he can just enter the fall state, because the behavior is exactly the same. So either you fall from the top of a jump, or you just fall by walking on the edge of the floor and fall. But yeah, it's easier to implement it like that. So because also you can jump and then fall in the air. So jump and fall in a hole, for example. So you jump and you fall in the hole. So the most logical moment to change the state from jump and fall is exactly at the top of the jump, right? So basically, yeah, that's what I did here. So you can see I've added the fall state in the animated state. Then okay, forget this, I just renamed the variables, not a big deal. And then if you remember our handle input, so now we are checking if I am jumping or falling, so in these 2 states. And then if I'm specifically jumping, then I move up. Otherwise, that means I'm falling. I don't need to test again the full state. And then I go down by putting my Y, increasing the Y. So the jump is really the moment where you go up, where the Y becomes negative actually. And yeah, I will explain that in a minute. And then this part, the air control, you can basically do it in jump or fall in any part of the move. So you can start to jump control in the going up part of the jump, and you can also jump air control when you are falling down, so after a jump, or if you just fall down from a cliff. So that's why this part is going here, and it's common. This air control for moving X is common to the jump and the fall, right? So this counter, well, it's the same as this one, if you remember it. So I just switch to the fall state. So before, you remember, if it was the first part of the jump, I was going up, otherwise I was going down. But now, if I reach the end of the jump, then I switch to the state 4, right? So that's just a rename of a variable. I renamed that variable because it's not just jump up, it's jump, because jump is always jump up, so it doesn't make sense to call it jump up. It would be confusing, so it's better to just call it jump, right? And then here in the static collision, so well, I just reuse one variable because basically I was doing this 2 times, but here we basically, if we were falling, then we go back to idle, and if there is no collision and we are not jumping, we also fall. So this part here is also to implement the fact that I'm walking and then suddenly there's no collision under me, I just fall, right? So yeah, basically that's the small first refactoring that I've done, is adding the fall state. So actually I will let me commit that before. Yep, I will revert to that version to show you actually. So here I add the HUD in the project file. All right, so I will revert to this one. I update to that version, and then I will compile again. All right, so now you can see from the previous, the first thing you may have noticed from the previous stream is that the character has fallen from the very beginning. Before, if you remember, it was just staying in the air, and I had to jump actually to make him fall. But now, because we are checking no collision, if there is no collision, it just falls. So here, okay, I jump and I fall, and if I walk here, boom, I just fall, right? So okay, that's good. That's the first good step actually. So then what I've done, the next change, okay, this is not important, I just rename a variable in capital letter. Then what I've done, okay, then I've done a non-linear up and down jump move for the fall state, because okay, I have to restart the game. As you have noticed, the main character is just falling, but at a constant speed, and also when jumping, jump at constant speed. But actually, when you jump, you have acceleration and deceleration. You first give a strong impulsion to go up, and then you are slowly attracted by the gravity, the Earth's gravity. So you slow down, and then you fall, and then you accelerate in your fall. So there's like deceleration at the jump, then acceleration again. So for that, we need to have this feeling. We need to give a non-linear speed, right? So that's what I've done in that commit. So first thing I've done here is I changed my anim speed, which was a constant value. I changed it to an array of speed, right? So, and I rename it jump and fall, vertical anim speed, okay, instead of just anim speed. So that's the same logic here. And then you can see that at the beginning is like 1 1 1, so every frame I move 1 pixel. Then every 2 frame I move 1 pixel, every 3 frame, every 4 frame, 5 and 6, right? So at the beginning I move 1 pixel every frame, then I slowly decrease the rate of moving up. Okay, this is just to give the size of the number of char in that array, right? And then also, because you will see the code under, I also had to add an anim speed for the air control. Why? Because I want to control the X, the air control speed. I want to control it at a constant rate. I don't want to be able to quickly control it at the beginning of the jump, and then when it's go up slowly, not able to control it, right? So then I have to differentiate the speed of the X, the update speed of the X if you want, and the update speed of the Y. So, okay, so that's the vertical speed, and this is the air control speed. All right, so here I also just reuse and rename some variable. The airspeed the jump airspeed I just rename it airspeed, because obviously I can control the speed while jumping and while falling. And this one is okay, the frame count, and this index variable is so this variable is the current frame count, and this index is an index inside this array. So we can look at the code now. So yes, I will explain this one a little bit after. So first we can have our array here, right? So it's the same as this one, but then we just check. So like I said, this is the index. We just check that. So why we have that, these 3 lines? Basically, these 3 lines is almost the same thing as Arduboy every X frame. I could have written Arduboy every X frame, and here, instead of putting this, the constant value, I could have put this one, the one value of the array. And that's what I did at the beginning. But the problem with that is then your jump depends on the current frame, global frame. So, for example, if you ask every six frame at the end of the jump, right, or every 5, every 6 frame, or let's say every 5 frame, if the current frame counter is maybe 100, so it's divided by 5. But if you start jumping at 103, then you will have a shift. So your jump is not constant, because it depends on the moment you press the button, right? I'm not sure if it's very clear what I explained here. So to avoid that, I reuse a local variable inside the rig, which is that one, and I just count my own frame. But I start counting them from the moment I jump, actually, and every frame I increase it, and when I reach the frame rate, then I reset to 0, so I can count again. I can start counting again for the next frame rate, for the next many frame I need to count, right? So these 3 lines is the equivalent of this one using this array, but instead of using the global frame counter inside the Arduboy class, I use my own local frame counter. You can see it like that, and just to have a consistent jump, okay, so that the jump is always the same no matter when you start jumping. Right, so we have that, and then we have this index that we should increase now, and the index is increased here. So if we are jumping, so going up, then we increase the index, and when we reach the maximum which means the size of the array. When we have done all these index, right, then we change the state to full, and we decrease the index, okay, to avoid getting outside of the array. And then in the full state, we do the opposite. That means now we will decrease the index. So we start increasing the index, and then when we reach the end, we decrease again. So we use the same acceleration curve for going up and going down. We will go fast, 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 then slow, slow, then slow, 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 then fast, fast. So that's why we just decrease here until we reach 0, of course, because I don't want to go outside the array here. All right. So this is going up and going down inside the array, and this is just for checking on every X frame, but locally, to summarize. And finally here we have our air control anim speed with the Arduboy. So what I explained here, I mean this control, I have the same problem here, and also for the walk, of course, I know that, but on one frame, if it's a constant value, that's okay, because basically the first frame will be either slower or shorter or longer, maybe slower, and then the next frame will be consistent. So you only have one frame which is faster, actually the first frame. But so you don't see really the problem, you don't see the issue here. But if you have a non-linear speed like that with acceleration, then this is when you start to see a bad feeling about when it is updated. So that's why I needed to count myself here, and here I was okay to just use the Arduboy counter. All right, so that was for the air control, updating the air control. Then when I start jumping, like I said, when I start jumping, I initialize the jump value to 0 and the index to 0. I start from the beginning of the array, of course. So this is just renaming the variable. And then if I get some collision, I should also check that I'm not falling, and not jumping, not falling. And in that case, I can fall and I can start the index and initialize the index. And the initialization of the index here is at the end of the array when I just fall, because here, remember, here is like we have detected no collision under the feet of the player, and there was no collision, so the player just walked above the cliff and just start to fall. And to start to fall, we also have to start from the end of the array and slowly accelerate by going to the beginning of the array. So that's why it's initialized here. This is just okay, variable naming. Okay, so let's see how does it feel now. So let's update this one, and let's recompile. And okay, let's test. All right, and here is our acceleration and deceleration. Okay, so I can jump like this also. All right, can maybe not. I think I can. Let me try again. I can probably cross the gap. Maybe not. So anyway, after doing this, I still feel that the jump is a bit sloppy, but okay, I have changed that. And the first issue you can just see here is that the air control is a bit too small. It's not strong enough, huh? Or I want to be able to jump across this. So the next thing I've done is to try to work on the air control, on the X modification, right? And there's a moonwall bug here that I fix after later. So this is this change, the replay so I replace the airspeed X by a variable, air control anim speed, give some inertia to the change of the direction. Okay, so what we have here. So now we also have, instead of just having one air control anim speed, we have two. We have the minimum and the maximum. So now the airspeed can go from 3 to 10, and before it was just 6. Okay. And I have a special value here, which is no horizontal moves. This value is a special value for jumping, just jumping vertically and not jumping, moving left and right. And actually, it's a bit of a hack here, but it's just to save some data and save some code. So it's kind of a hack and optimization. But I mean, I need it, but the way I did it is a bit of a hack. Anyway, let me explain you. So I have changed this airspeed X by air control, and I rename it air control aim speed, and I initialize it with this special value, which is 1. And then I have created a function, update air control, because this function I call it 2 times. So let's factorize the code, of course. All right, so here I still keep the every frame X, but I have changed later. Well, you will see. And this time I use, instead of using this constant value, I use the variable value, the air control anim speed. So well, that was this one. All right, and then instead of just -1 or +1, I call, like I said, I call this function I've created. We will see it, giving true or false depending if I go to left or to right. And this is where the hack is. If the airspeed I'm in control equals this value, which is 1, well, if it's equal to 1, I don't change the X, right? But if it's not equal to 1, then I will change to X. And now to know if I change to X on the left or on the right, I'm reusing the is looking left Boolean flag that we had for the walk, the orientation of the sprite, right? And this, I want to remind you, this Boolean flag is given to the draw bitmap function, the draw bitmap extended to draw a mirror or not mirror or sprite. So I decided to reuse that variable also for the jump, because when we jump, we also want, if during the air control we change the direction, I was jumping this way and then suddenly I jump this way, I want the bitmap to flip when I change the direction, right? If I jump this and then I flip if I go back in the other direction. So it totally makes sense, and also for later, to use this is looking left flag, and using here to know if I should minus the X or plus the X, if I go on the left or if I go on the right. All right, and then like I said, if this anim speed equal this special value, then I don't change anything. I don't change the X, so it will just jump vertically. And all right, so let's see what this air control is doing. Okay, so yeah, no, before that we can also check what I've changed in the animation, in the walk. So before, in the walk, if you remember, when we first implement the jump, we initialize our airspeed. So now I just initialize this by minimum, by the when I jump, I initialize by the minimum airspeed control. And if when I'm walking, when I'm walking, I initialize the minimum. And if I'm not walking, if I'm idle, right, in the idle state, then I initialize with this special value, the no horizontal move air control. So if I jump, if I don't, I'm idle and I jump, I will jump like this. But if I walk and then jump, then I will jump starting with the minimum air control enemy speed. And the minimum is actually, maybe the name is not great, I don't know, but the minimum is actually the small value. That means it will update fast. That means it will move actually fast. That's what I mean. So if you walk and you walk at the full speed. You jump at the full speed because you were walking actually. All right, so that's the initialization. Now let's look at the function. Basically, so we give left or right, depending depending where you look at. And again, we are checking if we are jumping just vertically with this special value. Then we set the is looking left by this value actually, and we also set the air control and mean speed by the maximum. So the horizontal speed was null, and suddenly, yes, because the update, what I should say, the update air control is called when you start actually moving. Remember, it's called when you press the left or the right button. So basically here, we had this special value that means we were jumping vertically, but then suddenly we start pressing left or we start pressing right. So if we start pressing left, we will turn the character to the left and we will air control. With this time with the maximum value. So remember, the maximum value is actually the slowest movement, is the 10, it's a slow update. So we start vertically and then we slowly start to move to the X. All right, then this is the other case. If I'm not jumping vertically, if I was already moving, I will be here or here. So if left is left, so if I was on the left and left, then I'm checking if I'm greater than the minimum, I decrease it. So basically I start with the max, for example, and then I will slowly decrease to the minimum, which is 3, right? So I will accelerate in the air. All right, and this is the other case. So this works for left or right. For example, if I'm looking right and I press on the right button, I want to, so it's false and false, then it's the same, false and right, it will slowly accelerate. All right, and this one is the switch of direction. For example, I was looking left and then I press right. So that means you want to decelerate your move. So this is why to decelerate we increase this minimum speed, but of course we check that we don't reach the maximum, and if we reach the maximum, then actually we switch the side, right? And yeah, and that's it. And this is the static collision. This is when I hit the wall. If I hit the wall, then I suddenly stop the movement. So I suddenly put the air control enemy speed to this special value. All right, so let's update to that value and see how it looks like, how it feels. So we will compile. Right, yeah. So for example, I will, okay, I can jump vertically without move. I can jump, and after the jump, I will press the right button. So I jump and then I accelerate. I don't know if you have seen that. I jump and then I accelerate. I can, and if I walk and I jump, then I will jump at the full speed immediately, right? And then I can also try to change direction. So for example, I jump and then, yeah, you see it becomes, on the feeling, yeah, it's become more difficult to, I decelerate, yeah, and then I reaccelerate in the other direction. And if I hit the wall, I will suddenly have my speed reset to 0, and I can, of course, start to try again to reaccelerate. All right. So, for example, here you can see I stop and then it starts to become. But sometimes it seems to be also not very consistent. You see, yeah, I accelerate a bit faster, and this is when I face the same problem as the vertical acceleration and deceleration. I don't have the consistency because I'm using the on every frame. All right, so this time I can, by the way, I can jump on above the gap. So I think the next change that I've done is to improve this consistency. And I have done exactly the same than for the vertical jump. So I have added my own personal frame count. So this time for the air control. And of course it should be, I cannot reuse the one for the jump because obviously they don't go at the same speed. So I declare a new one. I decrease a little bit the max because after I get more consistency, then I feel it was maybe too fast. So that's a bit tuning. And I just, you see, replace this by my own every frame. But this one is then consistent because it starts, we increase, reset to 0 when we reach the correct number. And of course I need to initialize the value here, and every time I switch to the fall or jump. So this commit is just that, as you can see. And let's update and see how it looks like. Okay, so I update, recompile. Okay, and then let's test again. Now I got my consistency when I hit the wall and I go to the right. I always start with a slow move and then accelerate. I get really that consistency that I didn't add just before, right? Yeah, and now the feeling of air control is good. I mean, is what I want. Is like it should not be super easy to just change direction left and right. It should have this inertia, and then you just air control a little bit, like kind of jetpacking if you want your character. So I was quite happy with that. I was quite happy with this, and then I think, okay, what is the problem now? All right, so before I switch to improving more, I fixed the moonwall bug that I mentioned before. You have seen it. So the moonwall bug is just here actually, because before we were just changing the looking left and this value only when you just press the left button. So the moonwall bug was, I was walking that direction, for example, jump, then in the air I switch my direction and I didn't release the button, and then I land on the floor and I continue to press the same direction. So then the character walk, but in moonwalk, not facing the correct one. So basically here I just reset is looking left every time, not just when you press the button, every time, right? So that's the moonwall bug. What else do we have in that change? Okay, yeah. So Also, so you can see the map data. I just change a little bit the map to do more tests. Also, like I said, I wanted that feeling. Um, the vertical feeling was not that great. Was not bad, but I wanted more. I found it a bit sloppy. I found the character still a bit too slow to jump. So basically, I want him to jump faster at the beginning. But the problem is we were already at the minimum. We were just like 1 1 1 1 1 for 1 2 3 6 frame, I think. For 6 frame in a row, we were updating the Y, moving the Y position 1 pixels. So if you want to go faster, that means you need to move more pixel, more than 1 pixel per frame. All right, because here we were just moving 1 pixel per frame, but every 1 frame, so every frame, or every 2 frame, every 3 frame, every 4 frame, every 6. We already have seen that with the camera movie. Remember, it's super fast at the beginning and then slow. It's the same. See, it's either we have to move, we have to wait for several frames, or we have to move and we move just 1 pixel every X frames. On the opposite, to have a faster movement, we need to move several pixels every frame. All right, so I wanted to have that, and the only way to do that is to, well, maybe not the only way, but the way I choose is to add another array, which is here. It's this array is the number of pixels that I move. So this array has the same size as this array, right? And then you can read the number face to face. That's why I aligned these two arrays. So basically, the first frame I will move 3 pixels. The second frame I move 2 pixels, then 2 pixels, 2 pixels, then 1 1, and then for the rest I move 1 pixel. But then I move every 2 frames, every 3 frames, every 5, 6 frames, right? So this is how the two arrays work together. All right, and this variable here, variable is used to limit the falling speed on a very long fall. Sorry for the E here. Why? Because after I test a lot, I feel that I had a great jump power at the beginning, but then when I go back, so when I go backward in the array, so the going up phase was good. Then when I go back, I feel that the character was falling very fast, very fast. Or if I didn't want the character to fall that fast, then I have to reduce these numbers, like maybe putting 2 or maybe remove 1 colon here. But then if I do that, the falling was good, but the jump, the beginning of the jump was still sloppy. So basically what I end up with is I start like this, okay, for jumping, and then when I go back, but I stop. I don't go back up to here. And I stop at which index? I stop at this index, so index 3. So this is 0, 1, 2, and 3. So basically I stop here at the 2 pixel per frame. No more than that. All right, so I also changed the starting position. You will see, you will understand why in a minute. I just created a small function because I wanted to reuse some code, just to factorize some code. All right, so now here, like I said, we are changing from adding or removing 1 pixel every frame by adding or removing the number of pixels set in this new array. And of course we use the same index as this one. So the speed and this index are the same actually. And that's why the array has to be the same size. All right, and then here, instead of checking 0, if I reach the 0 of the array, I check if I reach this specific index here. Then okay, I just decrease the index. All right, so that's the moonwall bug. And then finally here, this is a function I added just because I wanted to test it here and here. All right, so basically before we were just moving 1 pixel per frame. That means I could only check the collision just under the feet and then take action. But now I can move 2 pixels in one frame. So I may have collision under the feet, but I may also have collide the pixel above, right? So I need to check all the pixel I travel in one frame, actually, to really detect the floor. And if I actually hit the floor higher than where the character is, I need to move it up. So that's why I have this while loop here. So I use a while loop because then I don't care how many pixels I travel, I fall. Okay, so that's fine. And then I can just move up until I find the ground. Okay, but okay, knowing that we can only move 2, I could only just make a if I want, as maybe a little change. This is more like maybe future proof. I'm not sure. I hope it will not create a bug. It may create a bug like I don't know. It's safer actually. If we are sure that we only move two pixel maximum per frame, then I would say it's safer to have a if. Otherwise, I don't know, if I collide in a wall, then the character may move up. But I don't know. For now, it's a while. And that's it. I also reset when I die. I also reset at that position. You will see why. It's just for facilitating the test. So let's test this much faster jump, much dynamic jump. Let's compile. All right, so I changed, like you see, I changed the map to start here. I can just fall, and as you can see, the jump is much more dynamic. I'm jumping much faster at the beginning, and the fall is not that fast also. So I'm not saying that's the final definite tuning, but I think I'm pretty happy with what I have. Well, actually, at that moment, I was. Anyway, you have to, make a pause in your code and come back a bit later with new eyes, and maybe you will find it, I don't know, better, or you want to improve it. So yeah, now I can die on the spike to test again the fall if I want. Right. I can even jump from the top actually. Woo! All right, unless I fall in the gap, in the hole. So I don't know what you think. Actually, you should play the game if you really want to have the feeling to see if it's good or not with the key, with the button. I'm feeling quite okay. One thing I forgot to tell you is the height of the jump. The height of the jump has to be 2 sprite, so 16 pixels, because I plan to have some platform. So basically, the player can go under the platform, and you want to jump on the platform just above. So I also tuned these 2 arrays to have the main character to jump exactly 16 pixels. All right. So I'm quite happy with the air control. All right. So obviously also what is missing is the animation. I didn't implemented it. But that's why probably we need to retune this array, the speed, the feeling. after we got the animation, because having the animation also give a different feeling of the character jumping. So yeah, basically that's what I've done. That's pretty quite a lot of modification, as you see. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the result. All right, so what should we do next? Do we have actually okay, 45 minutes of stream to explain all of that. Actually, I didn't really plan anything except explaining you that. So I think obviously what we should do is what I should do is integrate the animation of the jump, the state, yeah, the different state of the characters. So we still have some state to implement. Obviously, the fire state, like firing with the gun, placing the dynamite also, and crawling also. So we have to crawl. Yes, I know what I can do in 15 minutes. I've noticed a bug. So let me show you the bug. Actually, that's easy to fix. Maybe I don't need 15 minutes for that. If I place my dynamite, then I am blocked by the dynamite. Actually, you see, the dynamite is a collision for me, which should not be. So we should update that. So let's try to fix that. Should be easy, I think. Obviously, it's in the map manager, and basically we should draw the non-lethal item after checking the collision, the static collision. So I think this should move here. Okay. Let's try that. I could also draw the rig here. It depends if you want to have rig above the dynamite or if you want the dynamite in front of rig. Okay, no, the other button, yeah. Now I can go through the dynamite. It works. And the dynamite is behind. Let's check with the dynamite in front, actually, to see what is better. Maybe the dynamite better. The dynamite in front is better to see it. Yeah. It's a little bit more visible, I think. Yeah, let's do it like this. All right, let's commit that fix. That was an easy fix. Fix collision bug with dynamite. All right. Okay, so what else can we do? Yeah, maybe we can try to remove in 15 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes. We can try to remove this hard-coded dynamite issue. I mean, it should be in the handle here, this debug test. So we should have a proper way to place the dynamite. The big question I have now, and it's oh sorry, I should show you. I am in the rig class, and this is in the handle input, and for now we just roughly debug code here. I mean, the hard coded is obviously this number 4 in the array of item. So the big question is, can we place multiple dynamite at once, or can we place only one and then we wait for the dynamite to explode? That's the big question. If we can only place one dynamite at once, we can just have one instance of the dynamite, and that's also more optimized on the code side. On the data, well, yeah, the instance, the memory used for the dynamite. But I'm not really concerned about the size here. If we can. It should be more logical to be able to place multiple dynamite, actually. I think that would make more sense. Yeah. So I think I will implement with multiple dynamite so far, and then we will see when we have the level design, if there is design issue or level design issue, then we can change it. Okay, so obviously the easiest way to do that is to have probably a different array in the map manager for the dynamite. Actually, it doesn't have to be in the map manager. So I think it was in the map data, right? We implement it here and we add it here. So let's remove it. This dynamite, they will not be placed by the level editor that we will create. And I want to remind you that the level editor will generate this map data CPP file, right? Read and generate it. The dynamite, they are always here for the player to be used. So we can just move this instance of dynamite inside the player. That would be much more logical, actually. Even if there are items, that's fine. We can still place them here. And we have the max dynamite count also here, which means, I think it's declaring here, which means we can declare an array of dynamite of this size, right? So inventory, near the inventory, all the dynamite instance. And by the way, I think the bullet will be also very similar. So okay, dynamite. How we will call them? Dynamite array. No, dynamites with S. All dynamites. if I do that, I need to have a default constructor. That's fine, we can add it, or I can just create a pointer, but there's no need here because it's a static array. We know exactly how many dynamite we can have at once, right? No more than the maximum here. So let's add the default constructor. And the CPP. So we don't really care about the position because we will set the position when we place the dynamite. So okay, does it compile? Yeah, it should compile. Yeah, okay, it compiles. So then we, in Rick, we should update them. We can just update in his draw function, I think, after drawing itself. Okay, so max dynamite. And so it's update. I will still leave this update here in the map manager because maybe we will have other for now I'll leave it, but maybe we may have other items that are not dynamite but that are something else. But if we do that, I'm creating a bug here because if the dynamite are lethal, they should be updated over there. So nope, I cannot do that. Okay, so okay, that will bring to something I wanted to do later and I didn't start talking about. Is to have an array, a dynamic array here for the manager that we could dynamically add or remove items, and we could just for example put the item of the current I'll say the current screen, all the item on the current screen, or when I'm scrolling I will have all the item in the two screens, and then I just update those items and not the item of the whole world. This is something we probably will have to do at some point for a performance issue, is for avoiding updating a lot of items which are outside of the screen. And if we do it like that, then that's fine. We can just add when we play a dynamite, we can just add it to this array. Okay, but I think I won't do it like this now. So how can we do it? I mean, quickly. Or should I do it now? because I cannot I can also, yeah. So anyway, I should not update it here because the update order would change depending on the state. But then here, when I press a button, I should add the dynamite to here, to the map manager. Yeah, so let's implement this dynamic array so far. All right, so we will implement a new function like add item. Yeah. I will take, for now we'll take the 0. So we will have another variable to know how many dynamite we have. Oh, okay, actually we already have that variable, right? This is the dynamite count, yes. So of course we can use it like that. So where it is in the update here. I should check if we have dynamite. So button press and dynamite count is greater than 0. Then I can actually remove one dynamite and take the last instance of our array and give it to the map manager. All right. Then let's implement that function. In the header file. We should probably will need the remove item also. We can implement both. Function to auto remove the items currently updated. All right, so then in our CPP we should have another array of items. The items to currently update. Okay. Do I have already all items for the map data? I forgot how. Oh no, I just call it items. Okay. Then maybe I will call it current items. I don't know how many I should have. This is something we can just randomly hard code. It depends, of course, it depends on the level design. Maybe the level editor could calculate it. Just maybe calculate how many items between two screens and then for each transition, and then yeah, get the maximum. So okay, let's assume that map manager will know that. So we will have current item count, the maximum items that can be simultaneously updated. Current item count should say, no, it's not current item count, it's max update item count. Updatable. Max updatable item count. Okay. And let's say I don't know, we'll put 10 for now. Or I can just put this for now to avoid bugs later. Maximum number of items that can be present on screen at the same time. All right. So here we have that. Current item, items, current item, or I will rename again. Item to update. Yeah, item to update. All right. Then we will have or add and remove item. We'll put it next to, yeah, here maybe. Nope, not this one. So add item. Remove item. Okay. So this one, yeah. So I need to have a counter, of course. I think a char should be enough. We will not have more than 256 items on the same screen or on two screens, for sure. Items to update count. We start with 0. And then we just add it here, plus plus, equal, I forgot the item, of course, item. And this one should be to do, of course. We have to iterate the array and maybe switch with the last item. Actually, I can implement it. It's not that difficult. Should be a pointer, of course. So we iterate on the array if we find it. Item. Two cases. Actually not. So yeah, nope. If this one is greater than 1, so we will shift the last one. -1. So we will put in place of the item we found, we'll put the last one, and then we decrease it. Can do that. Oh no, because it's not, yeah. Or I can just decrease first. No, I cannot decrease first. Oh yeah, I can decrease first, but then I check against 0. Okay, so decrease the item count. If the array is not empty, move the last item to the place, to the empty place. Nope, should be equal 0. Right, so if we just have one item, then it becomes 0. Nope. If we have a one item, it becomes 0, and yeah, nothing happened. And we should, okay, otherwise, okay. Yeah, I don't care about putting null in the array so far. And if it's greater than 0, then it should work. Well, we will test it later. Tell me if I made a bug. What I'm doing? All right. Upbeat Sing. I just saw your message. Welcome to the stream. What I'm doing a kind of clone of the Rick Dangerous arcade game, quite famous game. So it's called Rick Arduboy. And right now I was explaining what I've done on the for the jump. And right now I'm just implementing a more proper way for the dynamite. All right, so I have that. We should init. Okay, so now I need to change this array. I need to update this array here. All right. And here. Okay, and now I need to initialize this array with all the array of the map manager. Well, actually, I will not do it for testing the dynamite. It should be okay. So let's try if it compiles. Nope. Okay, what I've done. Array bound is not an integer constant before. It's not a constant. Oh, really? Ah, yes, I initialize it with something that is not constant. Oh, come on, compiler, you could help me. That's fine. Let's put a random number. Let's put 100 so far. Array bound is not an integer constant before. Yeah, it should be. Constant sign int. Where is my map data? I include the map data here. Item. Do have the item? Nope. Yeah, I should have it. Sprite data pickup item. Okay. Inside map manager. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I forgot this. All right, map manager. I forward declare item. Item that was not declared in this scope. Item to update in add items, add item map manager, namespace add item. Yeah, okay, because you cannot declare this array. Here I'm a bit confused. If I put 10, to add item is not member of map manager. Yes, it is. Add item. Okay, so I need to include the map manager here. Let's try this. Cannot convert dynamite to item. Nah. To item, okay, yes, I need to get the address. All right, so now let's fix. I think I didn't scope. That's the reason why. Yep, that's my mistake. right here I put it back this value. Does it compile? Oh, I am inside Map Manager. Don't need to do that. It's not an integer constant before this. It is. It is. Come on. Extern const unsigned namespace map manager. Ooh. This is map data. Yep. Here I have my value map manager. Const unsigned int. Does it include map data? Yes. Yeah, I'm really confused here. Let me just declare it just above. Let's declare it like this. If I put a define, I guess with a define it will be happy. So the compiler again is not very nice with me. So I cannot use a const unsigned int, initialize it. If I add static, does it help? Inside and use this variable inside the array declaration. Oh, with static it helps. Okay. So let's try to add the static here. Sorry. Static. Actually, I think I don't need the static here. Okay, so let's compile. Does it compile? Nope. Conflicting. Yeah. Conflicting declaration. Yeah. Should be declared inside map manager. Yeah. Where? Ah, if I declare it here. Wow. If I read this. Then I remove the define here. So conflicting declaration, why? Conflicting specifier in declaration. Static and const, it doesn't like maybe. But if I don't mark it const, I will not put it in. Okay, let's forget it. Let's remove it from here. I will not fight with the compiler. And let's put it here. I think this one was compiling. All right, so let's try. Okay, but yeah, that just reminds me that I just add the dynamite to 0, 0. I think I didn't place it. I forgot to light up actually dynamite. Here. Hey, the Arduboy doesn't want to run or what? Let's try again. Okay, I have USB issue. What happened? Let's try again. Yes, I know what. I update an array that is not initialized. Okay. So we have issue with the Arduboy. All right. I think I may stop the stream here. Because, let me maybe try to switch off and switch on. We may have done some bad code actually, I think. No? Yes? No? Nothing is updating. Ugh. Yeah. All right. Let me quickly check what happened here. We just add the dynamite. Add item, and in the map manager, item to update. Ah, yeah, I know. I iterate here, which is bad. We should iterate on this. here, here, and here. All right, let's try again. Yeah, I have issue with the Arduboy. And here I didn't, okay, I didn't draw it. Okay. So the beginning, normally the array is empty. So that means we should not update anything. Right. I may have to reset the Arduboy, which I need a pin for that, if I will remember. So just a minute, I will remove it. Nothing, still nothing on screen. Oh shit, was walking. Got something on screen, but briefly. Okay, there it is, back to business. So when you do when you develop, and sometimes you can block your Arduboy by making some crazy code like we have done. There is plenty of tutorial video on YouTube explaining how to reset your Arduboy. You have to with a pin to press the button and press the upload at the same time. So if this happened to you, I'll let you check the tutorial. All right, so okay, we have nothing. Can we have for dynamite, jump dynamite? No, because I didn't call the light up function. So I just added, but it didn't light up. it's in Rick. I deleted some code actually. So I should inside the update here and I think this takes the position. Okay, so XY. Oh, forgot the function. XY, light up XY, yeah. What did I, oh, it's a dot here. Okay. All right, so let's try that. Ah, still have some connection issue. Would be nice to be able to test before finishing the stream. Come on. Right. Still updating. Okay. Let's stop it and restart it. Maybe the port is not correct. Where's the port? Port. Oh, doesn't see it. Why I cannot see it? Let's unplug it. So I'm checking the ports right now. Ah, now I can see it. Okay, port 10. Let's try again. Okay, yeah, I had some USB connection issue. Okay, good. And now I can have several dynamite. Wow, all for that. And no more dynamite. Now if I press the button, I already used my 5 dynamite. So let's restart it. One here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. All right, and then 0. Good. I think it's a good moment to stop. Let's commit that, see what we have changed and commit it. Okay, we have added default constructor for the dynamite. We have removed the dynamite from the item array. In the map manager, we have created a new array for all the item to update. Then 2 functions, one for adding the item, one for removing. I'm not sure the remove function is working. We should test it later. Then instead of iterating on the static item array, I iterate on the item to update with the correct count. And okay, I have added add item, remove item, and in Rick we have created an array for all the instance of the dynamites, and then so it's not debug test code anymore. Place a dynamite when pressing the correct button. And now, yeah, when we press the button and we have enough dynamite, then we just light up from our static array and we add it to the map manager. Obviously, when the dynamite explode, we could remove it from the map manager. We could also basically we could also add, by the way, we could also add all the dynamite to the map manager at the beginning of the game, like in the constructor of Rick, but then there's no constructor, it's the namespace, but anyway. And yeah, the map manager could update all the dynamite all the time, and then we just light up depending on what we have. But okay, let's leave it like that for now. We'll see later if we need to refactor that. Okay, that's it. So the dynamic array for the map manager to update the items, refactor the debug code for placing a dynamite. By the way, the dynamite is a bit too high, not placed at the correct place, but I will tune that later. All right, and I push it. So thank you for having watched this episode, which was mainly, yeah, I spent 45 minutes to explain how I tuned the jump and the fall, and then just after that we have just added some 1 hour maybe. I don't know, 1 hour 45 minutes, that's quite long actually. We have implemented a more proper solution for the dynamite and for all the dynamites, so now we can place several dynamite in the level and update them properly. Thank you for watching. What will we do next? I think we could probably continue to do the navigation, like crawling. I think crawling is quite important. And yeah, so I say thank you to you and bye bye. See you next time.